you said that you're not done with me yet. I got to keep pressing, got to keep pressing on. You know I never forget that you're not done with me yet. And all the tears that I let, I got.
Grace to you, family. I'm Corey.
I'm Sean.
And we thank everybody for tuning in again. Our topic today is going to be relationships. It's not just marriage, but friendships, dealing with children, dealing with parents. It's just overall dealing with relationships. But before we even go into it, I'd like to thank everybody. We would like to thank everybody for sharing, for liking our post, and also, most importantly, for sewing to our post. We just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. We got a few questions that we've came up with together. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. Go ahead. You can start first.
Okay. Okay, so the other night we went and sat and talked with some friends. Mm-hmm. And during the conversation, something came up when we talked about couples when they come into disagreements or maybe an argument.
Right.
And you mentioned something about the golden rule.
Right.
And what it means to never go bad. So
right.
Can you elaborate and kind of share with everybody what you meant by that?
Well, it's just something that I consider to be the golden rule. And when I say golden rule, what I mean is never go bad. What I mean by never go bad, the Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. When we have a disagreement, whether it be major or minor, I should never try to steal your dignity. I should never try to kill you with my words or destroy you with my words. And that's just really dealing with it from the aspect of things that come out of my mouth. But there's some actions also that you can do to where I consider them going for bad. Mm-hmm. You know, scratching people's car up, burning clothes, things of that nature. You can just go for bad.
Yeah.
And then what's really bothersome or troublesome is when people go bad or go bad in a relationship over something that was really minor.
Yeah.
You know, over a TV show, mm-hmm. or, you know, just different things that we, you know, paying a bill. And then all of a sudden you go bad. Mm-hmm. We have a misunderstanding and you become my enemy. Mm-hmm. Because truth be told, you know things about me that other people don't know. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. Mm-hmm. So you know what you can say or do to hurt me, mm-hmm. and vice versa. And I think that if we have a misunderstanding or a disagreement, and I begin to do those things I know that'll really wound you, mm-hmm. hurt you, mm-hmm. stick it to you, yeah. To me, you broke the golden rule. We can't have a misunderstanding and all of a sudden you become my enemy.
So going bad is using private information,
right,
to hurt that person when you decided to go your separate ways.
Right. I mean, going bad, you know, disrespect.
Okay.
Disrespect is going back. We can have a disagreement and not be disrespectful to each other.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be calling each other out of our names, saying things about our parents, saying things about our past, saying things that we know, that I know that you are really insecure about, or mm-hmm. things that I may be insecure mm-hmm. about. If you touch those things in an argument, and some couples do it often. Mm-hmm. They do it often. To me, that's really dangerous because I believe that some of the damage just can't be undone. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, there should be certain lines you never cross. Mm-hmm. And we should never use our tongue or our words as a weapon against each other, man. I think when you do that, you know, you do damage that sometimes I think, you know, it's just too hard to come back from. So that's what I meant by the golden rule, that even in whatever misunderstanding we have, let's never just go for bad.
Okay, so that brings me to my next point. We also talked about language.
Right.
And sometimes during a disagreement or an argument.
Right.
And this is for women, but vice versa.
Right.
Sometimes women can use a certain type of language.
Right.
But when a man processes the language that she's using, she looks like a woman, but sounds like a man.
To a man.
Right. How can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, if you disagree, we have a misunderstanding, you can still be a lady. But if you go, you know, there's certain examples that. Okay.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
If we were having an argument and
Right.
we begin it escalates,
Right.
and I begin to say, you know what, you're a mark.
Okay. You
With that-
broke the golden rule. You broke the golden rule, and we shouldn't have to go that far.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to call you out of your name. You shouldn't have to question my manhood.
Some people might not know what mark is.
Well, I mean, I don't have time to define it. Just know she broke the golden rule.
Okay.
But punk, things of that nature. That stuff is very juvenile.
Yeah.
It's hurting. It's just things that I believe that in a relationship, in a disagreement, and it's really bad, man. When it's something small that you're disagreeing about, and you go bad like that, I think that
So bottom line,
it does damage to the relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unrepairable, in my opinion.
So what you're saying is there's a certain line that you cannot cross when you're having a disagreement.
It should be a code of ethics.
Yeah.
We can disagree. I'm fine with us disagreeing. You seeing it one way, me seeing it another. That's fine. But then when you bring disrespect into it,
Yeah.
when you try to say things that'll hurt me, and I try to say things or do things that I'll hurt. See, we should never be in a relationship that we have a disagreement and then we try to hurt each other. Because
then it becomes something else.
Right, because then it's like, you're my enemy now. Now, I understand you want me to feel your point or see it from your point of view, but, for you to do something to literally hurt me, man,
to use information that I felt open enough to share with you.
Right.
And then
I turn right back around and use it on you.
Yeah.
And then, one saying that people have is that hurting people hurt people. And you see that a lot in relationships where people are hurt. I'm already hurt behind something else, something you didn't even do. So, therefore, when we begin to have a misunderstanding, I'm trying to stick it to you.
And we always say that sometimes in a relationship, a person may be hurt or a hurt person, and they're making the person that they're with pay for things that they haven't recovered from or been healed from. And we always equate that with married couples or girlfriend and boyfriends, but that could be mother and daughter, son and father.
Right.
You're making someone pay for something that they didn't do, that they didn't
right.
Press upon you. They didn't cause the hurt that you're in.
And then the Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Don't kill me. Don't kill each other with your words and with your tongue. So that's what I meant by the golden rule. Don't go for bad. Yeah. We love each other. So if we really truly love each other, then we'll never go for bad in our relationships against each other.
That's good.
All right.
One more thing that we talked about.
Okay.
And this is kind of funny. Share with everybody the comment that you made when we was just amongst our friends, but about how the quarantine has affected us.
It took me a second to see. Everybody has been affected by the quarantine and COVID-19 in some shape, fashion, or form. But I noticed that, me, I'm what they call an essential worker. So I'm going out to work every day, same way that I was going before this all took place. But now you're working from home. So I noticed that when I came home every day, I'm trying to wind down and you trying to turn up. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm watching TV, you're kind of like, oh, hey, what did you do today? What's going on? And you're asking me a lot of questions. And I'm like, man, what is wrong? Yeah, you asked me a lot of questions. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with her? And so, it's just, you follow me. I go in the kitchen, you follow me in the kitchen.
I don't even try.
I go in the living room, you follow me in the living room. You follow me, you following me. You're talking to. I'm like, what is going on with this woman? And then it dawned on me. She's been in the house 5 days. So I had to reel it all back in and say, okay. Now, even though I'm trying to wind down, I still have to make sure that she's good during this whole quarantine thing. And I have to put a extra effort into showing you attention because, you're not going out. You're staying in the house every day. So I don't even know if you knew that you were acting that way or that you were responding that way, but
I wasn't following you in the kitchen.
well, it felt like you were following me. So, I realized that I had to step my game up and made sure you were good throughout this whole thing and show you the attention that I feel like you needed and that you deserved. But I didn't get it at first. I didn't understand it at first. Man, what is wrong with her? What is going on? What's the issue? And then it finally dawned on me. She been in the house for 5 days. You were going nowhere, just working from home, and we wasn't going anywhere when this first started. But you're doing much better. You're doing much better. Okay, what we got? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that
Okay.
answered my question.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah. What do you
Okay, let me see what I
want to
got.
ask me?
Okay, this is a good one. As you began your walk with God, how did some of your relationships change with your friends?
Some of my relationships changed for the better.
Right.
Because some of those friends, they were already walking with God, so
Right. It made that relationship stronger.
It made those relationships stronger.
Right.
We became closer. We began to be able to talk about more because I was then taking my walk with God seriously.
Right.
Some relationships it severed completely because we had two different lifestyles.
Right.
So there wasn't anything in common anymore.
True.
And then some relationships, it depends on my perception. It depended on my perception.
Right.
Because I could have looked at some things that were done because there were some relationships where I wasn't invited to certain things anymore.
Right. It goes back to that lifestyle.
Goes back to the lifestyle. But in an immature mindset, you could perceive that and be like, they don't like me no more. They don't see me as a friend anymore.
Right.
Or you can mature and look at it a different way and say, you know what? They have enough respect for the choice that I've made.
Wow.
And that's the reason why they don't. No love lost.
Right.
Still love you, but there's some things that...
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah. There's some things that we're not going to include you in.
True Christianity, true commitment to Christ comes with a lifestyle change.
That's right.
That's the only way that it's authentic. It may not happen overnight, but, and what you're saying is so true. There was no love lost between me and my friends. Yeah. It was just a separation.
Yeah.
Because I began to realize, at first it was kind of hurtful because I want to show them now,
I'm still me.
I'm still me, man, and we can still hang out, we can still kick it, we can still, hey man, come by the house, we can still ride every now and then. But what I began to realize is that, truth be told, me and a lot of my friends, though we loved each other, we respect each other, the only thing we had in common was sin.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't smoking, drinking, chasing women, or doing the things that we were doing while we were in sin, we really didn't have anything to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
So I respect, what they choose to do with their life. I don't look down on them. But, at first, man, it took a lot of getting used to, because, these are people that I love, people that I had been around for so long, but, it was different. It was different at first. And then, there's some of them we still communicated. I still check on them from time to time, and they check on me. There's no love lost. But I really think the key thing to that is it's a lifestyle change. Yeah, it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to elaborate on concerning that?
No, just that some friendships you can really tell that they're tried and true because they stick with you.
Right.
And they respect the choice that you made for your life.
Right.
And it just shows that they're true friends.
They're true friends. That's good. That's good. What are some things concerning your parenting style that affected your relationship with your kids that you would like to do different, or if you could go back, you would do it differently concerning your parenting style?
Ooh, off the top, I would have tried to understand their perception more.
Wow, the way that they
The
see
way that
things.
they see things.
Right.
I would have tried to I not be their buddy friend, but I would have exposed them more to my past.
Wow.
I would have let them know who I was before this.
Christ.
Yes.
Okay, why? Why? What benefit is it in that? What benefit do you see in that?
Well, first of all, nobody else would have to tell them anything about me. I would have been the one telling them.
Right.
And then second of all, I think that it would have showed them that this was a process. And that I didn't wake up like this.
Wow.
You know, that I dealt with some of the same things that they're dealing with now.
Wow.
And so if I could go back and change that, I would
let them
have.
know that it was a process.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even with our marriage, you know, people see our marriage and think that we started day one like this.
Mm-hmm.
See, but before we got to love and marriage, we were loving hip hop. And see, truth be told, we
Yeah.
were loving hip hop.
Yeah.
Before we got to love and marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important that people really know that, because it was a process.
Mm-hmm.
We've been married 14 years. We didn't always walk in agreement.
That's
We
right.
didn't always respect each other.
Yeah.
We used to use our words to hurt
Against
each other.
That's right.
So, you know, I think it's important to understand that as we grew in Christ, we grew closer together.
Yeah.
And so I don't want nobody out there thinking, you know, oh, once I give my life to Christ, that all of a sudden everything is going to go right. No, it's a process, man. If I was to really share with you some of the things that we have been through, a lot of the things that I did wrong, my actions said wrong, insensitive, I could go on and on, but we were loving hip hop before we were loving marriage.
Yeah.
We've been together, 22 years?
22 years, married 15.
And married 15. In those 7 years, they were loving hip hop.
Yeah. Yes. But you know what, though? Anything that we are today,
Right.
we are because of the grace of God.
Right. And I think that that's so important that people understand it. It's not about the good that's in me. It's not about the good that's in you. It's the grace of God that keeps us. And if you take nothing away from these videos, understand that we are what we are because of the grace of God.
That's right.
Everything that we've done, everything that we've accomplished, is because of the grace of
That's
God.
right.
God keeps our marriage together.
That's right.
Truth be told. So, I don't want anybody to think, oh, no, is it Beyonce that sings the song, I woke up like this?
I think so.
We didn't wake up like this. I'm sorry if it wasn't Beyonce, but we didn't wake up like this. We haven't always been to this place.
And
Man,
have
it
not
was a
mastered
process.
it. And have not mastered it.
Right,
But
because
of God's grace.
right, He's keeping us.
That's right.
And our willingness is and we're willing to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine that when your family first met me,
Ooh.
they didn't think that I was going to be a preacher.
Oh, no.
They didn't think that we would probably make it this long. In other words, we didn't look the part
No.
in the beginning. But look at God.
God is awesome.
God is awesome.
Yes,
And if
he
God, and look, and that's awesome because Romans 2:11 says that God is no respect of person. So everything that we do it to testify that of His goodness and His mercy, and to also let you know that the same way He's done it for us, He'll do it for you in your relationship.
That's right. No matter how dark it looks.
That's right.
No matter
That's
how
right.
dark it looks, no matter what people are saying.
Right.
If God be for you, He's more than the world against you.
That's right. And what you're going through right now doesn't define where you'll end up. It doesn't. But the key ingredient to it all is you got to have Christ.
Yeah.
You got to have Christ. We would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for Christ. If it wasn't for the examples that we had, if it wasn't for the word of God, if it wasn't for her willingness to grow and my willingness to grow,
Yeah.
my willingness to look at myself and say, you know what, I may not be doing this right. Okay, let me see. Okay, how do you feel? Okay, what did I do to make you feel that way?
That's
I mean,
right.
man, it was a process.
Yeah.
And I believe that we've evolved to this place.
It's a learning process. You go through stuff and you learn, oh, that didn't work. That didn't work for us last time. We got to change it. It's a compromising.
Right.
It's okay, maybe I was wrong.
Right.
When you say work at marriage, that's just not a phrase, a catchphrase.
That's true.
You have to really work. There's gonna be some good days, some bad days, some days you don't understand.
That's true.
But as long as you continue to do the work,
That's true.
and to keep God in the middle of it, to keep God in the center of it, then you're gonna come out victorious.
So don't be discouraged if you are in your love and hip hop stage. God can do it, and we're a living testimony that God can do it. And if God brings you to it, God can bring you through it. And what a lot of people don't understand, that, you know, it takes God to put you together, but not only does it take God to put you together, it takes God to keep you together. There's nothing that God will call you to do that you won't need him to walk through.
Yeah.
Anything in your life that God says, hey, this is what I want you to do, it's going to take him to bring you through the beginning all the way to the middle to the end of the process.
That's right.
You know,
That's
it takes
good.
God. And I think a lot of people, oh, God put us together. Well, it's going to take God to keep you. And I think a lot of people really don't understand that. What questions you got? You got anything else, or do you want to elaborate on that anymore?
No, that was you.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is a good question that I think is going to be a blessing. Your grandparents were pastors, and you were raised at your grandmother's house, right?
Yeah.
How did that affect you and your relationship
With them?
with them? Right. Oh, no, you know what? Not how it affected your relationship with them, but how did it affect you with your grandmother and your grandfather being a pastor?
Okay, so pretty much everybody know my story. My grandfather was the pastor, and I lived with my grandmother and grandfather the majority of my young years, but my mother was there every day. So I
Right.
lived with my mother, but my grandparents, we lived at my grandparents' house.
Right.
So anyway, they were grandparents that instilled everything that they could instill in us that was right to do.
Right.
I'll say that at first. But a lot of times when you are the preacher's kids or the
Right.
preacher's grandkids, you think that there is an invisible responsibility that's put on you. And you think that, I don't want to say that there is, I'll just say that I perceived that there was this invisible responsibility that I had to live up to.
Some of it could be, you know, in your mind, but
Yep.
then sometimes people
It's true. Now-
perceive
I've
perceive that you
seen-
should be a certain way
Exactly.
because of who your parents are in
That's
Christ.
right. So a lot of times when you are the preacher, the pastor's kids or the pastor's grandkids, you are not afforded the same grace that other kids are afforded for mistakes that you make.
Right. You're not allowed to make a mistake.
No,
in
you're
your
not
life.
allowed to make the mistakes. Or if you make the mistakes, it's it can
Magnified.
Go, yeah, it's magnified. Or it can go two ways. It can be like, oh my goodness, the preacher's granddaughter did that.
Right.
Or it could be the preacher's granddaughter did it. We knew they were the worst. So it's two ways that people kind of put a jacket on you, and you have to decide if you're gonna wear it.
It's so unfair.
It's unfair, but it's. I also learned that there was a lot of things that I thought people were expecting
Right.
that was all in my mind.
Wow.
You know, they knew that you were this, you were that, you were gonna do this, you were gonna do that. But in my mind, I was thinking, no, I have to be perfect because I'm the pastor's granddaughter.
Wow.
I can't make any mistakes. So when I did make a mistake, to everybody else, it probably was like, oh well, that one did it, that one did it. But
Okay.
to me, it was like the end of the world.
Okay. Give me an example of a mistake that made you feel that way.
Well, I called it a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. But
Right.
like a teenage pregnancy.
Right.
You know, when I became pregnant, I was 17 years old, going into my
Right.
senior year.
Right.
And so, I was known. The only thing I did was go home and go to church.
Wow.
But you find ways to do things that you want to do.
True.
So in my mind, when that happened to me, it was the end of the world because I was one of the pastor's grandkids.
Wow.
And so in my mind, I thought
So you felt like the spotlight is on your family.
the spotlight is on your family. You can do no wrong. You can't do what all the other kids are doing.
Wow.
You can't make the mistakes that they make. If you make the mistake, that another kid did, and I don't know if they're doing that now, but I'm from back in the day, you had to get up in front of the church, tell everybody what you did, sit down from the choir, sit down from the drill team, sit down from. There were different things that you had to do.
Wow.
I don't know if they were right or wrong. I'm not going down that alley. All I know is there was a different level of. You just had to be perfect. You
Wow.
just had to do things a certain way.
Wow.
And like I said, some of those things people did expect it. And then some of those things were in my mind. People weren't holding me to a certain standard. But a lot of times when you're preacher's kids, it's like a double-edged sword. You got to be perfect. You can't do certain things, or they were expecting you to be the worst ones. So
do you believe that this pressure is applied by God, or this pressure is applied by people?
by people. By people. God doesn't see us as preacher's kids.
Wow.
Because whatever's on our parents don't necessarily mean it's on us.
And it's so unfair because, you know, you look at me and you and all the mistakes that we've made in life, you know, having a child out of wedlock, me being incarcerated, a lot, you know, just a lot of different things. And to say that my kids should be perfect is so unfair.
Yeah.
Because I evolved to this place, and God, because of the grace of God, I'm at this place. And I don't think that we're encouraging, you know, children to sin or to go out and do anything of that nature. But what we are saying is that you're human, and you're going to make mistakes, and no one has the right to judge you.
That's right. And then also, a lot of times what encourages me is if you don't see the results in your kids that you want to see, stop looking at the struggle and look at the blessing. And so that really, really blessed me. Stop looking at what's going on right now and look at, if we be really honest with each other, our kids are way better than where we was at this age.
Right.
They're not involved in half of the stuff we were involved in. So stop looking at the struggle that you're heading through with your kids and start looking at the blessing, the little things that are turning out right.
Right.
And that's the thing that encourages me as a parent. But that's the one thing that I can say about being the child of a pastor or a preacher. It's unfair. It's unfair to put those kind of pressures on your child.
Do you feel like it made you resent church or resent God? You know, because I've heard that before.
I've heard a lot of people say that it made them want to, as soon as they became
more?
18, they left. They didn't want, but I didn't experience that.
Wow.
I didn't experience that. I didn't, for some reason, thank you by the grace of God, I didn't experience the.
You kind of separated the two.
Yeah, I didn't go through the I hate church people. I didn't go through that.
I hate God because of a decision that I made.
That I made, yeah. See, we don't look at it like that.
But I can understand how a person would feel that way.
Yeah.
I really do. And we talked earlier about, you know, parenting style and regrets. And I didn't really get to speak on it, but the Bible says that fathers are not to provoke their sons to anger. And I think that growing up in a single parent home, you know, just my mother and me and my brother, she had a hard task of raising two boys into men.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, her hand was heavy. She was very protective and she was very strict. And I think that I got my parenting style from her. And I believe that with my own sons, my hand was heavy. You know, I believe that, you know, you've heard me say this before. I think I gave them, you know, being overprotective, understanding what it is to be a black male, wanting them to be better than I could have ever been. I think I gave them too much truth. You know, every day I was giving them truth. That's not your friend. If you keep doing that, this is going to happen to you. Don't go that way. Go this way. And I believe that it built up in them a resentment. And if you look into the word, Paul says that he was an expert master builder, right? And he said God had graced him to be an expert master builder. But Paul was talking about how he laid the foundation. And if I could do it over again, which I don't want to do it over again.
Oh, no. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, if I could do it over again, instead of building the whole house, I would have just focused on the foundation. I would have just focused on respecting yourself, respecting others, keeping Christ first, hard work, and things of that nature. But I think where I made a mistake at is that I tried to build the entire house. And I think because, and get this, I wasn't intentionally trying to provoke them to anger. It was really love, you know, but I think it communicated or it came off something different than my actual motive was.
I think that one thing that I may have done that I wish that I could change is I think I created fears in them.
True.
So
True.
Where I was so worried about this happening, that happening,
Right.
I would be like, no, you can't go outside. You can't go there. You can't go here. And the truth of the matter, these kids these days, they don't know how to ride the city bus because
Right.
we wouldn't expose them to that.
Right.
But you'll be okay. Just,
Right.
let them
Right.
go. And I think I created fears by always making sure that they just stay.
Safe. But that's a parenting,
Yeah.
you know, that's a characteristic of a parent. We want to make sure we don't put fear on our children,
yeah.
but just, you know, to make sure that they're safe. And I mean, when you talk about mistakes in your parenting style, I mean, I can imagine we could go
On and on.
on and on about.
But one thing I will say that if I could change the
most important.
the most
number one.
important thing that
That you
I
would
would do to change, the most important thing I would change would be I would be present. You know, a lot of times when you're a young parent, especially if you a young parent with kids around the same age or twins like that, a lot of times you're just trying to get through the moment, but you're there, but you're not present in the moment.
Wow.
So you're there, you hustle, you got the stuff together to get the birthday party together and make sure it was awesome, but you wasn't present in the moment and you didn't choose to enjoy the moment.
Wow.
And so I wish that I could kind of go back to certain things that, certain moments in time that I just wasn't present.
You were
I mean, I
there.
just wasn't there, but I was present in the moment.
Wow.
And I was experiencing the moment and I was enjoying the moment.
Engaging with them.
Yes,
Wow.
that would be the most important thing.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
So if there's
awesome.
any young parents listening, take heed to those.
Take heed to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you know, one time I remember my son telling me, you know, I feel like y'all don't love me. And I couldn't understand that. I'm thinking to myself, you know, I've said it out of my mouth. I take care of you. I'll go to all your sporting events. But some way, somehow, even though I was doing those things, to me, those things were communicating that I love you.
Yeah.
But not in his heart, not to his ears.
Yeah.
And if I could do it over again, I would figure out ways to communicate that I love you in a more effective way to where he understood.
Yeah.
You know, and that really hurt me because I was thinking, oh, maybe he's just confused. But, you know, he wasn't lying about the way he was feeling.
Yeah.
And if I could do it again, I think that I would put more effort into finding out what love looks like to him.
Because everybody have a different way
Right.
that they
Right.
receive love.
What do they call it? It's the
love language.
The love language. I mean, is the love language just for? It's not just for couples.
It's for relationships.
Period.
People. Period.
Wow.
Everybody, they equate love as a different way.
Right.
And you may have three kids. One, whenever you tell them, I paid the bills, or I put a lot of food in there, like, man, my daddy really loved me.
Wow.
Then you may have a different child in the same household that doesn't need that. That doesn't say that saying you love him mean you watched a game with me.
Wow.
Or
The time.
you went outside and we
All touching,
yeah.
hugging.
Now in relationships, sometimes people don't feel love unless you hug them, or
Right.
you know, in a marriage unless you kiss, or you know. My love language, I always say this, is my love language are words of affirmation.
Right.
Those are different words,
That we communicate.
different ways
That we
that we
communicate.
show love.
That's
Yeah.
wow.
And so, where one woman my husband really loved me, he always doting on me and hugging me and kissing me, that don't necessarily equate love to me.
Wow.
When you speak about me and I hear what your true feelings about me and things that you like about me or love about me, those things make me feel like you love me.
Love
Those
language.
words, yes.
Love language.
Yes.
And that's a good segue to get out of here. we want you to know that we love you. We thank you again for tuning in. We ask that you like the video, that you share the video, and if God places it on your heart to sow a seed that we can continue to upgrade, we ask that you do so. So till the next time we see you again, my name is Corey.
I'm Sean.
Grace to you.
Let's see if you got some words of affirmation.
Never forget that you're not done with me yet. And all the tears that I let, I got to keep pressing, got to keep
Lord, you know
pressing
when you saw me as I was when I